business, and also holders of O level or A level, GBC and ABC, City and Guilds, NAPTEX, HND, and other professional qualifications are qualified to apply. WACC or SSA students who have obtained an aggregate of 36 or better. Students with D7 are eligible to apply. Students who are 25 years old and above are encouraged to apply as mature students. Mature applicants do not require any qualification. Senior high and technical school students awaiting the SSE or WACC, either private or main, and NAPTEX are eligible to apply. The university has flexible tuition payment options for students and runs program for regular school, evening school, and weekend school. Bisa na adwenkyere bi 0244 844 0244 844 Lawyer Tinubu Akodua loyalty I say Kofi Tonto aha and a prof so aha. Mama me go studio 2 na fe yen hya se e mon komo. Atik Mache.
Atik ye tia o.
Atik Mohammed Mache. Atik Mache o.
Me use o nana.
Atik ya be me jo so ya me mpe. Ebi aka say ye nua. Aha na ye. Aha me jo so dey ase wo twa me hu ja bi na.
Ye use na say me bofu.
Aha ase wo buafu me bi wo na me nya fine bi sha no. Enti me cha Atik Mache.
Ye nua me nua.
Na how to say?
Nyame dia che me aka ne aka.
Ebe yi. Prof na kan was nyame dia ndi on fa mo atrim ode.
O enu dia.
Nti o sorry ya
na.
Ya na ase wo ho. Ba de do kra nya eni da so.
Be no kra yegusu.
Eni da so. Dale. Ya da se so anya ho adaje no pay.
Me so mi da se mo afre me.
COVID.
Ah.
Let it say.
Boko na so e.
Erade adom pa cho me mo ache.
Me so me jo so. Yeah, nia. Me so me jo so me so proper na.
O si ase odi no wasem.
On say we share unia na wa chia uni ni asem oh Kofi match oh ye nua ye ja na te sen na ma je
ba me ji ase ogbefu
ma se ase
mo be jo so ne the background so me chia wo
so me ju
me ju su okay
ene ye nua
ana se ma beto se moti hey me ntime oh Atik match na mama wa chi o ma wa mo achi nua na guo na mo ma chi se nipa Bam ayi Kofi wo dey say utimi kan twi kakra ho.
Mitimi ya dan.
Kan twi kakra.
Mitimi kakra.
Okay. Eti next week nyame adom a obeba na oba ya bra me 500 series memma books mako prof beson 5 beson 500 beson.
Oh, ayi nana me kai say me nyini wo Kumasi na book bi kan me. Is it kan me or something?
O ka me hwe.
Kan me hwe na o kan na.
O beto ka me hwe.
Dabi wa meto bat.
That was a book like that near King book.
King Kami was a program.
Okay, there was a program. Be
na books ni e bedre.
Me nyini say wo pen so wo beto e. E bia nimdia kwankyere.
Me refi title no, but na
nimdia kwankyere kra pa ni me nyini.
Prof na me kan book.
Okay.
Ajeni motia. Okay, ajeni motia.
Story book.
Okay.
Na as a young the story was about a young guy. Na me refi story na kakra che. But me kai say na me kan
young guy oye dey.
Ache.
And to there, unim. Opa, what for 500 brands? So I make it a canal.
So how be ya?
3 books that open ya to no boss ya true.
Oh, sure.
Ebeboa.
Sure. I want to actually
but there 5,000 and since I come the more coffee. Why?
Me pese unse openya de kuma de ba ko asese no. E ha adwen say ye mabuniti true a brofu bia ni ho ayentimi ntro. Brofu bia ni ho ayentimi nkan. Ba me kra mpo a mesi metimi akenkan twi no. Ebe take time and sana. Ene ma asisi so.
What me aka ba ko ne bene anabom.
And arehosem say ye ya krom kasa. Yes ye nimdifo ye ya ayentimi nkan ye ya krom kasa.
In 2011 me call prof office. And I need inkomo bia oka plateau approach. Uwie no say language extinction and a prof nyasa
extension
or kasani me kai part 2011 prof on here do no plateau ni dey anye but extinction
it's very true and prof I don't know man requirement at the university level
setting
some kind of
it is Uko University of Ghana.
I know, but
you choose a language.
Yeah, they choose a language, but obey you know still na no she
mon chassi em free fie.
No.
I'm on the ne ba ekatu ofia chassi ofia okoskumu an ne ba je.
Prof, pacho mache.
Ya ja ohene.
Am pacho wapom.
Apom de nkaye o.
Na ka de aka no.
Me an de banka.
Everything I watch am no. Prof, omran ten di bia bo. Isaac Amaobi.
I am mama mbi.
Sir.
Na say de amode man no kon na epel bia de ye nso ye be kan ko.
Ela de pese ka de ba ko. Ti de wa he ya.
Yo. Wada Roma. O se men kan de am.
Pese hin me pese me hu bia o pese o de ahoɔden no gu. Ejina no.
O de sabe ya trudru an ye pendanta. And that bar me buy mum de ya wada team no. Na say na bibia betwa menya kwan ba ya wada nti obi de say take say me hu na chepa it is not my dream says I'm beto fa na me hu omo tia wo na me sa akokra eno nko aye
yeda wase
ana branche we nso say
Bragovi
me krom ni
Kovi oh I see
ofri me man hene krom
okay
eti ne amehwe ne ma ba mienu say yakenkan budget no
yakan
ọma hyase se ọmụ pensem no ọma keka ho
no correct
enura nipa dodo se na call parliament
I said last week cry
majority a omankasa budget sa branti wa bi edru a ono bechiru omankasa budget a modi kogura election 2024 election majority for no se na wo ho but is a finance minister nan kasa there yeso otukwan na bedi akire for no ye hyase se ye bedwendwen ho no nipa dodo se na wo na ya
prof
se obia eye to e bia obi oba bia ya opeso ohunu de ote ayi paso no wa yie ne se opeso ohunu to bia ohunu no chia okra na okokra ope. It is to say, yeah, cooking kind budget. Majority for na mo demo budget ako. Eno na etre dwumadi ahodo e da monim wo afia ye besimu yi ekopem se ye beto aba. Na se bra ye kinkan na ya chechiremu na pensem bi o ho a mo de aba no. Man kasa mo anse da anko a. And so sabiam producer ani hwe henfa eti ya besre emrasha badwa eye efikase a eho na nsem bia ekohina beba bepie ho sa ban no de ne hye bakra eho na ye koje atom na se bibia ehu hia pa se o man sikasem nyina e wo budgetim na ye de be ya kwan suku kuyayo apomden afana nyina eno ho asem ne yekoka eti minhu de ntia majority na ade ne hye wo monsam eno ase se wo hwa ase minority for na ya twa for mo so
so to anepe
oh yes come to anepe na ho masa no ko mu na me dwene ho a etwetwe maso me ntiase ewom se okan ha omam de omayin se omam panin no yese okọ aprobo yes okọ aprobo ese okọ aprobo anda ode aprobo no etoto budgeta ehom pensem ni nchirechiremu no na bi dai animu a ade ben nan ka besi omam panin kwan de ya to abaman se onye omam panin no sanke bia na probo no ebi kura obetu ahyeda ana oni nipa kakra bi beko na nkaya no aba parliament abeboa ama budget no ya pensem mu esansa mo na mo de aba obi ani ho obetumi akirikire mu asene majority enkenka finance minister no na so eye ho enti ya mo ma ya nya niam bi se asa sabi ye di agro was budget enya agudi o ye enyina ehye senia enema no besi akom enti se nyame boa na eduru se so omoba afe na bi o mbehyi ansem kyerefo na o ma bekyerkyere ba na monko parliament wona monko kyerkyere mu emfa ho ne radio dodo a mo betra so nka enhyase emfiri mrahye bedwam ho nti ahon de ne a meka no me famu de me nko de anya mede it is omo bibia omo nka e ma yentie de tosu mienu eye se omampani da danso ono so ekọ aprobo de ya obisa se na den nipa mienu hi se obia wa probom akansie no mashase ana
ba ko da se ba ko so bi o de Ghana to
ye hura man yo
se ba ju okrum ha
Hey. Says Yayama abato na koye mfie na adwuma. But ya 2020 year ya and almost ase. And ya didi mo abapem seni. And da bi na me ka say enkenkan aban na omo ya omo abem party wa bem no. Sa mama madwene ko abato no so dodo pa. Ahwe ya na amamuo no ne fa baabi abeto sini. Bize muwie ya na fe ye hwe kwan ye befa so yi asoafo enso bi no mo pre omom ne na machire abobọ ahemfo ne mpanimfo amane ewo ho omnya sa na bi aboso me nsia ekọ omampanin ne ntumi nyiwie ye yiwie ne etwa afe na ye wie pe na mo sa adwene mfie mienu na edi yanim no na se eno ba ahemfo no ho kemu yan ya ye o manfo no isansa mo madwene nyina wa abato ene sa mo bedi nkonim the basa na yan ya aba no ye de ane se da na ye to no ne ye kwa akoto bi no ne man ka mbe ya ma ye ho ahenhan yen e wo ya bra bom ni asetrem na ye tumi aye no boduma ni nyina akogu abato so we mete ye se omso omwo bibi e friend orphan constituencies baby a omo ankasa ni mbrahye badwafo no eno so no kra akoye bibi e wo
2nd December
ana se omo mbrahye badwam omo ntama o
se orphan ne de mfa mbrahye badwamfo no
na obinum so koja omo
ba sesi ano udi komo ya na bibi ba ma dwenem se omo ja debate no no di ye fence vice echi no e wa ase
sa ya ne ama odwuma
da bi nyese adwuma keke o prof sesi ano wa momode antwam nani so a onkai o ne bi o kai wa no bobo odi
e ba so o ben cheche se yan fan se so odi nkunim na o cheche na
da bi sesi so he running mate oh esa o ben no
ni na eperani meet
nana ya
papa
en na how do na ye ma reho no
arho de ye pa
esa se imomra mrahye badwam na mo amo budget amode aba no mo mekyerkyerem na ba bi ho na se opposition for no kasa ahaya mo ayense de na mo yense a manya no ayi na nipa dodo se na ebe yom se running mate ya ba kompe
ba kompe
oh na afi bebrebe ni bobue eno so ne de a
se konwa ato ya de share pre
ena maka se anhwe ya abato ni dibre ankofo ope no ebe ma yemmom ne ho akere yen esan se kwan ye se mo fa so bu oman no magai e de pe dibre ya rehosem ena no owura si edun kete aka asem bi se o the parliament wo ho sei ene MP4 no o de toto parliament abatwam ene ayi a esipai
speaker krakan the quality okay
esipai once ya kinkan nipa bi owura safoma for no mpenso ne aprakunum ni nipa no mo
yitimensa no
nyamenfa ne kransie osu Japan no
Ibrahim Maudum no
oh yes na enei
Felix osu Japan no
ma me fancy ya wan hia
Nana Akufo-Addo no
yes
hey
wan hia na manu akopa
anompa
esan se ohwe banre dunum penso akonfoadu obehwe legon wo ho ana wahia no wahye track suit akuafo ho no onam ho baby otimi wura bathroom ehwe se ne ehosite na se dankwa ma bi mo preska otimi ahu se we manitua na enai de se ne esi konu de emu ya mewrem di mesre MP4 ne mra omo e de dibria ahyehye omo nsa no asoafo no omo mpagya omo ho kakra omo kanya omo ho kakra na nya dibre nko a na wiase e de tra from ente hoda ya ma post sen a dakru bi e be free unsa ya shase 1992 yi hwe nipa abedi post eko omo abeye MP4 eko omo aye directors ne ho ahwan eko eti ba bia wo bia no obi wo ho ansa na wo ba na onso on tra ho akopim se Yesu be sa ba na the omukika kwese o man hwe ya ebe mamra se bedwam ase obo modern na uyi usika na eto abama wi a usi osimwe meko na otwa mfie na bio opebosen a enkofo besa de ato abama wo na nya sa ne amammuo ye bu oman eno na ye hwehwe nti obia mfa na ho din nyina enkogram bi ena na nsan ya na 4th November ana omo to aba MPP for to aba no omo pe na obetu frank amount
ampa
MP4 ahodo no hwa hoden a omo didi no achi ahoden kase ene ahofama a omo di wura mu
obenisa aban de omo ka o
na afa mokoto aba ni wie a afa na adru ho a mo se bibi the breaking the 8 da mo hwe kwan am betumi afa so na moye modern budget akwa afa so obi ateda keka ho na nia ye di asa no nwunu na na ma me fancy o
ne krakra
ma me fancy wa na ma be hu na take mu kra me pe
yeso ye hu ha no pe kra no e ya ho wa ma yen nyame nshira prof
that's it
nyame nshira pa adi
nana
over here budget nana
make want some kitchen not much
okay
when say last week na minikwam wa that was a day after your presenting budget a deputy minister was scheduled to be here neso baha
but I was saying
and also sabi matter is a yenti enya dia obetimi aba obetna ha in fact one betna hampo obaha and before the discussion could even begin was you a need yes in 9 sunti on one a ye nunti soko no sorry koye you can want them my this later kwame be patch of be apologize you and I didn't see the basis for such an apology anyway and Nubina so it was just a micro reflection of what to expect said deputy minister Hankasa Mua enti be church or no budget more who do you expect to obey you man and yeah yakran to the extent the speaker of parliament Wefu said not even one of the 3 ministers of finance in fact 4 was courteous enough to make an appearance in parliament na omwabuama ya debate no and because look budget and actually how we are going to fare for the next 1 year is as important as in fact is the most important document in the life of any government because NHS sika is a wunya any juma is a udisasika no budget is just an estimate of your expected revenue an estimate of your revenue and your expenditure what you say na aban bia we juma kesia ne say obeji tuo na wako pesika bi aka ho now the aye puntu juma ama omanfo no na say that document na e kire sika dudu you expect to get any kwan obefa so edi sa sika no you don't find it relevant to go and defend ana e kire mu parliament na just say yeah was somebody poor it's not right and it tells you how you're paying for they need to up their game media anka Matisa Minister of Finance and Nikrum, which is fair because Okodi Jumabi. But how about the deputies in this way? One of the deputies is MP. My mean, yes, you are MP.
One of the deputies, two deputies. John Kumar MP.
John Kumar Edgeso.
And Adam Antasu. At least, some opinion ni hokrana. One of you should be able to make an appearance. You are not, and you are not required to answer questions. But your presence, Bibi Chichirobi Adrian, and sometimes your presence is even to help majority members, Obi or issue be the person can come and confer, this issue, this part of the budget, especially the economic policy part, na it is same because obey a contribution, the person needs clarity. Now who knew then where does the person get the clarity from? Where you cry. Prof, growing up, I mean, budget debate was one of the things that I need June Parliament. because that is when our UTM Crawford like it was exciting. Well, but this idea, Prof, like you said, this year Obia Onya Kakribia Pesoko Parliament. As a man for Ehun say, Parliament is not just like any other arm of government. Well, I mean, executive need there, you can be anybody and you'd be okay. But Parliament there, it requires some serious effort. But this idea, Sabi Akwet say. Yeah, the baby mount na unsaka kakra and one say oh me call parliament and the pano akojina primaries nitie yi na call parliament and one and the person really is not enthused about Juma yeah parliament no idea hardware nti going forward no Mr. Ministers no at least and even all other members of parliament e will say yenyon drew appropriations no but the economic policy of government and share how where we are headed for the next fiscal year. Well, budget, you see, government has to present a vision, an economic policy. Now, policy, usually would end with, you don't just present a policy, but at least, so at the end of the day, sikasa na war, na sikasa na ebeti media ye amaya achieve sa goal, this policy goal and so on. Anti appropriations ni beba. But for now, government's economic policy, I say you should be able to tell. You should be able to tell why you think that this economic policy by government is good, is a bebwa and so on. Now parliamentarian, debate now on Kanhubia. We then catch our constituency. Abain din shishe say na aba. Na ni abain and hunsun sanzo. How do you explain it to your own constituents when you are not present in the chamber when proceedings
would they ever avail themselves for that to their constituents?
But as I idea says near ACA is just an opportunity for us to call our MPs out na yemo mu say Juma yedi asho munzem no eson. And it was not just exclusive to only majority for minority for no kra be yesi bebre na so no money ho. If I'm MPs ni nyina majority nkwa even though near hackers here say muna majority for the document ebe in parliament and so you would expect say almost bewo and kanka the ministers now almost higher MPs but having said so let me just speak generally on the concerns would government be able to avoid this political business cycle or the business cycle business cycle is fluctuations around the trend of economic growth. What is here? Until you can treat the
can send up can be a better here.
Until business cycle is when you have fluctuations around the trend, another growth trend. Until you would have periods economy no a better baby. You would have periods a better form. But at every point in time, it tries to revert, to so ubuko forma. That is when who say buying paying for would be putting in place counter-cyclical programs to ensure if you are in a recession or depression, whatever the nature of the drought is, to bring it back. Until a babaka at some point will come to the trend level and exceed the beam. So these are fluctuations. And there will be a friend political business cycle, which means that in every election year, before election, governments will do very well. They will try to make sure that all the key indicators of a healthy economy are achieved. Your growth is reasonable, inflation is lower, exchange rate is the depreciation of the exchange rate is reasonable against other currencies, which means that your currency is not depreciating faster against other major trading currencies. So indicators to keep them stable. But through election year economic growth will begin to either plummet, then inflation will begin to rise, exchange rate will begin to go off the roofs, your deficit levels will begin to grow. Let's just say a economy because of election. Until election ni be wie no, now indicators ni bebre are way out of range. And so spending the next 3 years trying to bring them again. So it becomes like the fluctuations I spoke about. It's a cycle. Until you have a period that Obebo who more to keep them stable. Elections ba na RTAC you can say rough road. And it's not a good practice. Until the economists can say those in charge, they should try as much as possible to avoid political business cycle. It is called political business cycle because these fluctuations happen around elections. What is here? Until about to bedrua and found near because they want to win elections, they engage in expenditures that are not budgeted for. They engage in all kinds of things a hard. And look, they supply a lot of money into the economy, which causes inflation to rise and all of that. Until there is that concern, say 2024 AB, are we going to experience a political business cycle and now and then keep expenditures low? Usha, I think we are lucky where we are. Essence, and that will make it difficult for us to be able to have these overruns. Essence says, I am a program. We are still, undergoing the program. And there are some benchmarks, there are some checks, constraints. Idea 2 years so say. Mean yes, deficit and say cause in this annual. Enuna ebe buama share on huso. So my hope is we are still undergoing that project going to 2024. You bet me abua. Ushas is here our expenditure compared to last year. Eswa perform because of IMF program. They won't allow you to do SEBI. The kinds of unreasonable expenditures now when you are not undergoing the program. They won't allow you. In fact, you mean
the kind of ajana one ajana
two expenditures and even it's becoming difficult to get the next tranche of disbursement, which means for us to actually get the next we need to keep to I can say lower expenditure. Until me a shaming crying say 2024 we are likely going to
stay on track.
Regular expenditure levels. This kind of man Bruce. That's my hope. But another thing Ananka Mifi say to make obviously assurance double sure. And say fiscal policy rules. It is to guide you. Send a bear also. And one of such rules, is to have a fiscal responsibility legislation or policy, whatever it is. In Ghana, the policy we actually legislated on it. And they say there is Fiscal Responsibility Act. Act say and say we say by the end of every fiscal year your deficit shouldn't exceed 5% of GDP. COVID by your Minister Korea. In fact, the first implementation of that act was to suspend the act. Your minister say because of COVID until mean dinumana a woman so until he suspended. Mranuma going to suspend the act, but this is the 3rd year after COVID. Baby, you need to start being fiscally responsible. And one of the things is to allow some of these rules to operate until to make assurance double sure. Apart from IMF program, any conditionalities that will make it difficult to overspend. Mejidi said, if we unsuspend, if there's any word like that, and if we restore the act. Mijidi say Ebeshe Minister for Finance and everybody else in charge of our fiscal policy, Ebeshe they will not be able to spend beyond the limits allowed by the act. Because if we restore it, now you decide to go beyond the limits, you bet me do a court. What is here? But as it stands now, if you suspend it now, the only thing I be seen is you hurt the IMF program, our progress with the IMF program. IMF was so intimate for court. Okay, you haven't met these minimum criteria. Can I say bano? AB I bet you chance and my number says here. That's the only punishment you get. But probably you would have won your elections if excessive expenditure is what would guarantee your victory. But we need to stop it. Kufuor pe in 2004, he was running an election for his second term. But he was able to ensure, say, economy so that in 2005, he was the only one. And I think it's a lesson. It is something you bet me. But sometimes you place the fortunes of our parties beyond the general welfare and the common good, which is.
I think you don't think 2020.
Just to have the conversation. You don't think 2020 the government made a similar effort?
No, you see, as for effort, everybody would tell you they are making an effort. But when you compare, we need to compare.
Actually, send out in Kakakara.
So, budget deficit.
We need, except for all the major indicators, in 2019. They are in 2019, they are 2020, like 2020. And here you are 2020, how did each variable fare?
Yeah, but remember 2020 was a special year.
Well, so that is why using as an example might not be entirely
exactly. So it's good to qualify the statement because Akufo-Addo didn't have
COVID. Oh, no, well, you see, I'm speaking to I'm speaking to the facts. Of course, if there were
now one Kabaka Chika Krama, I infected article now there. What
na antimi ensia like now when timi anyasana, that's a factor to consider. Ubetimi aka say COVID by na we needed na say disika we didn't plan for and so on and so forth. Mijitum. But I'm saying factually speaking, from 1992 Kufuor na etimi year no.
Okay.
What I say, but Akufo-Addo, you can say in 2020, we never would have known. Ebi COVID amba, ebi ankobetimi and ebi anka ontimi. What I say, but that's a factor to consider. Ebi he could have done that. But I'm saying going forward, he has an opportunity yet again. So 2020 COVID by Abia Ambuano 2024
yes.
And I think we need to apply ourselves to this. And me going forward to be able to keep ourselves says yet me share on who share on who na government there won't be overheating and there won't be budget overruns. I say it me restores our fiscal responsibility act na yankasa yejitu mu say be buayen na we to avoid the occurrence and a recurrence of our political business cycle. Okay. Media say Minister for Finance any cabinet say 2024 bebe na wie no na sa niye NCB mu dia. One of the things beside IMF programming is to institute and restore South Fiscal Responsibility Act dia ebeboa. Na Mamifa we enter to Finance Minister so amas a very ambitious target of 1 trillion Ghana cedis as the GDP. And the major no maybe next week I become once because you take when answer no be forecasting
also be January o dey say be January 2 January why yes me da say papa Atik Mohammed and okasa we should consider reducing the number of MPs to 150. Many seem very ineffective and lack a clear understanding of their rules. The upcoming parliamentary primaries provide an opportunity to vote for individuals with a genuine commitment to advancing our cause. Samuel Bryan.
No, meaning absolutely because now almost until because parliament is strong. Executive need the sebi. Obi about to car game cry to me the no call her. Emma ye.
Ebi nso so a yen hwe ne say the politics ankasa abe yesisi.
Ebimu use it as it's a form of insurance policy for Ebimu.
But also the amendment person
which is not and say you can't use parliament as an
the first pan obi a ye hwe gambaga say cratch bi wa ha wako school pa we cratch fanatic Mohammed o kira de wa kire ha mom ye nko frɛ no na o megina man na mpanifo aba ho ne no abekasa sikatua bi anim bibi anim but then no to hell with your nyanza wo
na wa wo nyanza no Unyanza no be report against Sika.
Me na me catch it.
Who do Unyanza no by catch Joseph? Na electors no cry even corrupt more than the politicians. You catch Joseph say Unyanza.
The cardinal fixing a country's economic problems goes far beyond promises and the usual rhetorics for cheap political gains. I still can't fathom why
an agro-endowed country like Ghana has failed over the years to prioritize agriculture in her quest to boost the economy and make life bearable for all and sundry. Isn't it shameful we keep importing crops which even do grow well in some of our gutters, yet we still can't see the need to act right? What happens to our state farms of yesterday? Many party politics always be about how to win power and not how to govern. Jomo Pokwase Festus also Snedia or the Abba, I don't know. Fidiamo Bakwempa. And married of four Mrs. Agnes Nyamiche birthday. Mrs. Agnes Nyamiche, wife of Samson Kwame Nyamiche, General Manager Hello FM. Our beautiful wife, Mrs. Agnes Nyamiche, we celebrate you today. Thank you for being a wonderful wife for us. Mrs. Agnes Nyamiche, happy birthday. More years to celebrate. Yankopon Enkanho. Bragovi.
Edi kan menchia na menchia watiefo a omutie anopai.
Bragovi mpacho ma memfa kito we nkan Sandra Boatin Intiamo wo Pokwase Mayra ene eye o wawoda enti o papa Chief Supu Kofi Ajiman Bedu retired or say Intiamo Sandra Boatin Intiamo wo Pokwase Mayra happy birthday. Kofi mpacho ma miti
na menchia Chairman James Owusu or Cincinnati MPP USA Vice Chairman na uti opanti memfa nchia sonko ema no edikan mene atik ne prof
Matthew for so kasa den kakra nke be
okay edikan mene atik ne prof be ya adwen se oye aban a wona wodo budget akọ parliament a ho behia se wa ho kaka no ebe wosro nti ya behwe se be yempanyimfo a omowo mrahye bedwam no bibi ni a ahokeka no ebe kosro na on se atik na wo kra wo ka se eba sa nema we a enye just one side o in fact speaker started kasa fa attendance ho no enye ne. So I think last year or 2 years ago, Speaker Kraka said, "Me refi."
There's an incident you had to suspend sitting.
Emma, there was a time where I know so be attendance. Bibi, they all mention any problem me and send dia. Actually, na who said ne be cry health related ne idea. And the challenges are wo sabe in parliament ne attendance no. And yet. MPP side nkwa kamia ye say both sides of the aisle no to the bi ho na akoba ne sa nti ye be hye enuanom mrahye bedwafo nkran say ye na ye di tumi no ama omo say omo nkogina ya na mu na ya na mu no nso omo kogina no ye be hwe say omo bekọ ne tentem ne show so se ne be ya be boa ye nyina menyi ni say ye boa payo nana ya but adwuma no de mawa na de amaw ye de jawa na de asoa nti ye besere omo se omo ma omo hom ne so kakra unfortunately no so we share this budget cycle nso a need some dates bi ko hia ya and shada mo papa because on say aside from the orphan constituencies now MPs no bebre no elections in January. I think the time na kwe di agra utibeti. No, I'm not justifying it. I'm just trying to be real and practical. Say ye beto aba January.
So mo yam shisho mo.
Na think master go for boy yam gidi e wo form ho. So ho. Adwuma na wo ye no obi gi afiri wonsem. But what I think sometimes let's be realistic.
Yeah, but at least omo dedicated 3 days
oh and I make us say some medikan aka say ye best stress omo beba omo home so onda wona I think oda wona ana wan so kan sabio e bia homodin bo a wo bo nyina no na obi nso di pin etwuku saa kan sem of form ho say niema bibire so ho enti bosumi a akai say wo di agro bedi nti ama ebi dodo na nso na hu behia sɛ ɔmo bɛkɔ fie na ɔmo ne asi ahenefo no akɔdi nkɔmɔ nti time no na ebia no nso anhyɛ da ankɔboa bebree ba ne nyinaa mu no I think sɛ yɛn nyinaa yɛgye tum sɛ adwumaso da ɔmo anim a ɛyɛ sɛ ɔmo yɛ na ɔmo de boa but the budget debate ne deɛ ɛkɔ so I think sɛ mihu minister upon Kroma Kra na o debate part of it ɛne adeɛ megye di sɛ ɔmo nyinaa wɔ pepa sɛ ɔmo bɛ debate budget no ɛde aboa ma yɛhunu baabi a yɛbɛgyina nti ɛbɛhyɛ ɔmo nyinaa nkran but deɛ atik mu aka no ɛne deɛ ɔpanyin aka no titiri yɛn a yɛwɔ abɛn mu na ɛsɛ yɛgyina wɔ akoma pɛm na yɛsɔ mu nso wɔ akoma pɛm na deɛ yɛbɛtumi ayɛ afa ho biara no yɛyɛ de fa ho megye di sɛ wokan yɛn party Kendinia ne odi party n'anim no otie yɛn general secretary yɛn chairman in team na ɔmo nyinaa nso tie nti tahodie biara ne nkɔmɔ biara na ɛsɛ ɔmo ne mpanyinfo no di era ɔsɛkye mensa bonso nso ɛwɔ hɔ no nso tie megidi sɛ saa nkɔmɔ no nyinaa ɛbɛba so atik adeɛ baako a me I think sɛ ɛsɛ yɛdwene ho ne sɛ sesei mate sɛ mpanyinfo bi wɔ hɔ ɔmo nkɔ bio so the quality of our parliament no and I say quality respectfully not in their persons but in the experience who am na making because obi a watena parliament 20 years no until say obi a watena parliament 4 years experience no ewo ho enti ye side de kamia ye se nipa mpanyinfo a anhwe ya omo betena fie no ɔmo so ɔmo nkɔ bio na ɛyɛ adɔso kakra me mpɛsɛ me didin bia beto dwa onye suro ade no bi so hwan yɛ wɔn panyinfo bebree nye suro but ɔmo free sɛ ɔmo asom nti aduru baabi a ɛho behia sɛ bi a kɔfoɔ nso bɛba bɛtoa so ɛyɛ ade ɛha me because wo hwɛ mpanyinfo bi wɔ hɔ te sɛ Joe Wise ɔsɛ chairman sa bonsu ne adeɛ ɛne ɔmo makeka no a nimdeɛ a ɔmo de ba parliament no ɛyɛ nimdeɛ a Ghana yɛhia nti yɛhwɛ deɛ ɔmo nso bɛka so ɔmo bɛkɔ anaasɛ ɔmo nkɔ yɛhwɛ nti ɛno nso wɔ hɔ ɛba budget expenditure ya I think sɛ I think aban no ameki some efforts kakra sɛ wohwɛ 2022 total expenditure of GDP. In fact, you spend sika ye ka see ebedi you spend 24% less last year budget. 24% less.
There was a reduction.
Yes, about 14 billion.
Because you didn't have the money.
Oh, because we didn't have the money.
Yeah, and so you didn't have the money. But I mean, it's.
Oh, I think now say ya catch the Ghana for say omumia omabosu. Esa aban nso mia na boso. The aban nso mia mu eno nti na 14 billion aban ne ka say sa sika we ye nhyehyeye sanka ye de bebo ye ho bra nanso nam say ye pese ye ne Ghana fo nyina e Philippine nti no ye nso ye be ye fam de. Nti so wo hwe numbers na in fact the budget deficit your target here was 5.6% or so. It made about 3.something%. And clearly no shows say a buying is on course. Says our 5% fiscal deficit revenue in terms of
what was your revenue target and did you get it? So
no, we didn't meet the revenue target. So but it was very minimal. It was very minimal. I think it was very minimal. No, so share revenue. Clearly, it shows that there was a commitment. I think other commitment. Now,
no, I've said that. Look, there has been some. The focus is on stability, and there are some moderate gains. So I've said that last week, but anyway, I'm going.
Yeah, and I think say idea say. Yebo aban no abaso aban nso de nhyehyɛ si nani so sɛ nyame ya adom a ye kɔ yanimi 2024 budget ye bɛhwɛ na expenditure no yasa te so kra bio e de aba from kra. And then there are other aspects of the budget nso a aban ne kan ho asɛm mo hwɛ adwuma aban no pese wode ba menim sɛ wo hwɛ ayi aban ne nkoma o difa BPOs
business process
outsourcing.
This is a long policy that has been on the books.
Of course. And I think say for the first time no there is a direct commitment because aban no ekasafa arrangement bi a yepese ne
GIFEC.
Not GIFEC. There's a company in Kenya, I believe. You're from CCI. It's the biggest call center company in Africa. It is a BPO company, more on a call center basis.
Why aren't we getting Ghanaians to do this? That was the idea.
No. So the idea is that they will come to support. So Abayans will create space for other BPOs to come in. There are several BPOs. Of course, me too.
No, on the NDC, this opportunity was made available, and it was with BPO with GIFEC.
Okay.
And today we provided office spaces.
Yeah.
But I think now businesses were looking for other incentives. And I was thinking, I mean, it's not bad to get OB, but if you're bit Ghana for, give them the right incentives to take advantage of this offer now.
The thing about BPO, having a ready market. Once Mimi say, for example, may try some start BPO.
It's a good idea.
But you go
the accent, the Ghanaian accent is
it's easy for the Americans and then other. Exactly. Exactly. So me gusua me ye me there. But the challenge is that se ubenya broni no krama na trust it. System no. Enuntina esa abano. Abano needs to step in. Tina abani take it the first step say. This time, an already established entity, or ye be dada, or what that customer confidence, which is the CCI. Branebe Buayena 20,000 Ghanaians, young people for customer service, and only a call center. Then we'll scale up to AI support, data science support, data analysis support, and all of that. But then incentives in Swaya, the various companies are BPO. Fortunately, they say there's a company called Remotely already Ghanaian company. I think 2 Ghanaian guys are no more UK and Babe set it up. And then there's a company called Anaman Concierge a concierge company and Wababe be in the call center or Ghana. To call Imperium building now, baby, airport one or more center. No, there are several. In fact, and now assuming who are brofubia or Monso Abagana, Ababe setting up another BPO. So you see, sir, there is increased interest in the BPO space. Nyameya Dumwa a bit me abointi. Sir, Abano, I take interest in it because I think you see, the youth wants modern job as well. It is a ultimate offer modern jobs and also beboa. In addition, Nyameya Adumwa next month, why say be announce another job initiatives. I know they mean komo.
Modern jobs.
A very creative idea, but I'll leave it for Mpenimfono to come in and discuss. And Nana say on the budget and the budget deficit, ne sa ne manade sa na meka me gidi say enhyehyɛ aban ne de egu akwan mu enhyehyɛ a ebetimi aboa na sikasɛm ho akwantu a yetu a ɔhaw ba mu asese yetimi asi kwantene ne so no aban ne timi de yen aduru hɔ
mate Kofi Tonto ene Atik Mohammed Prof esese okodi dwuma bi nti wasre kwan kakra ntimo antene nka anyese bia watwa fa so na emom okakodi dwuma foforo ewo baabi Atik round 2
yes
any other issue apese oka ho asem
yes me hu bibi but meka the 24-hour economy hu asem kakra any any cancellation of licensure exam
okay
but me hu bibi I think committee na mampenyi set up no to deal with victims I think say omu ye juma and me hu if you look in the papers ube hu say the chief of staff has said they will not leave any victim behind. For me, that is reassuring. And because Ghana for juma no muye. Into having this mindset and commitment now, idea ebebua. All other efforts are appreciated. Now, aban the no so, like they have said. Almost said the difficulty and the interesting thing about aban is when everybody else tires, aban the only make as a medium habrew. And having this mindset, say, look, no victim will be left behind. No, I think it's reassuring. Mami from Opari, none of pay Michel. Yet our masters to say they have this mindset, and they are saying that they want to even get as much support as they can get to support victims. No, I mean, you know, I try them the Timothy and the kind of ahunka you from government, from private individuals. No, when you naturally say the Ghanaian spirit, Ghana for. You get to see the real Ghanaian.
That communal spirit.
I'm telling you, when Sebi, unfortunately, tragedy strikes. And until Amama Mbibri, Ghana is the envy of many countries in the sub-region and even in Africa. Because sadly, what Timama Yahu, Ntina Sebi, Ntokwa, any Mikan Tokwa, Mpacha like civil unrest, enter and see Ghana. Because Unya. The following day, how would you feel? What is here? We will continue to have that spirit because that spirit. It is that spirit that keeps us together. Man, you someday by the end of the day, my fellow feeling I my own. Yankupon uncle so or so that we can continue to look out for one another. Now, campaign the answer.
So our
24-hour economy, I don't think it is a bad idea. Minjin, this is a bad idea. Look, people have made the point, say, oh, why do you talk about a 24-hour economy? And on a lighter note, some have cited all kinds of ridiculous examples. But I mean, I think they said so in jest, but really and truly, somebody would want to speak about a 24-hour economy. We need to have a conversation about the fine details. What you here? Because you don't just 24-hour economy. In the first place, you need to tell us which sectors you are targeting. What you here? What incentives you are bringing? Because you don't just tell people, say, if I have a manufacturing plant, now I catch them say, it would be nice if you work day and night, for example. What incentive is government giving me to get me to do that? Because it would involve increase in labor. Ebimoso Aka say, increase in labor is not necessarily the only reason why you should want to have a 24-hour economy. But at the end of the day, increase in labor would result if, for example, the factor input that ensures you increase your production labor. Until now your 24-hour economy now. And more time, more the chance to employ more so you can increase your production. What is here? And the idea I think is a good idea, but we need to have a further discussion on the fine details. And some of these conversations, but it's a conversation that we can all have as a country. Look, some are saying, look, there is a need for us to invest more in our blue economy, which is also a brilliant idea. And going forward, me expect this 2024 is going to be a contest of ideas. And I believe in the capacity of the front runners in this election to be able to do that, present us with ideas. Blue economy, that is the talk of town today, and globally. What are the respective candidates? To ensure we maximize gains from the blue economy now. And Ghana is blessed. Blue economy, Ghana. Like we have things that can make us competitors on the global stage as far as the blue economy goes. Until night economy and our 24-hour economy, what are the fine details? Which sectors are you looking at? What incentives na deba? Because you can't legislate on how people run their businesses. This is a free market economy. You can't force them to. So that time now we're running centralized economies and now command economies need the travel. But once you incentivize a business, businesses are attracted to incentives, whether tax incentives and non-tax incentives, whatever incentives they are. We are nipana or your business will be who say, if I take advantage of this offer, ebe buami. Until you what nature the incentives are going to be. Are they tax incentives? Are they non-tax incentives? And so on and so forth. Which sectors are we targeting? These are fine details at SA. Now, again, I would also want to see going forward, what are the respective ideas of the various candidates on the blue economy? And the green minerals. There are issues with the way we are going about green minerals in this country.
Okay, green minerals are there.
The lithium and those other minerals now that ensure sustainability. No, what I say, because you see, there is going to be a transition from fossil fuels and petroleum and fossil fuel powered cars to EVs, which would require batteries. Batteries no so lithium. Ghana so nyankopon adumye. What are we doing about it? The first step Abaya take is problematic, but we need to hear from all candidates what they are going to do. Me, that's what I'm interested in.
What's problematic about it?
In the coming days, ubehu nientia Messi is problematic,
okay.
No.
Okay.
The agreement? Yes, the agreement,
okay.
the lease agreement, no.
Okay.
But going forward, no. These are the areas I expect, young candidates, to start talking about. And again, me sure say in the coming days, revenue mobilization, issues are. They need to begin throwing these issues out for us to discuss and debate. Sometimes you can have an idea, no, but find details. One can say, but unya debate sana conversations no be bout to even fine tune that general and a big idea, no. Until I expect the candidates to throw more of these into the public domain. Na yen di hun komo, and I'm sure at the end of the day, unkomo be boa mo ama or mo define details no abeka in their manifestos, and Ghanaians can make informed choice and our choices as to who they think say be to me in from 2025 echo. Let me say,
Mate. Okay.
Of course, they should expect jobs. Woody and bar. And many say, opponent in Bay, I can say, this is the best idea in TB that they be. Because without the fine details, you would expect, say, a bimo will punch and so on. Until almost can say, no, ye kwe nim ye din komono. Ideas, I'm sure, would begin to flow in, and they should begin to fine tune and add the fine details so that you bet me, I can say, okay. OBC, I want to create and introduce a 24-hour economy. These are the benchmarks. Then you can judge Nipano. Okay, me the incentive say neighbor. These are the areas I'm targeting. Now we can have more informed conversations. That's another.
Hey,
and then me from Sokes here pa.
One chagambaga.
Hey,
chow.
Midin chian muodu. Was it? Me see midin chia ha kwa coffee. Midin chian muodu. The Republic of Gambaga for any Gambaga na little constituency for any mamprogumai and I enkanka midin chas rokoso na yiri and nano be michano bibia ovia. Medasi nanaya.
Yeah, Kovi.
Yeah, nanaya medasi. Meka 24-hour economy no mi wi ama kan bibia fa lithium ne ho kakra. Dia di etieni Omampanya abedi achire His Excellency the Vice President we party candidate ade assembly to just say asemo a Omampanyi John Dramani dada John Dramani Mahama kan no one no enya adwene na ofiri se a bad idea na mepese mechire sa ansem no mu kakra edikan the SE nyina yehu ne se MPP anase position a ye pese ye chiremu ma Ghana fo nyina ate ase ne se ye nyina ba bi nka se 24-hour economy bad policy per se Mampanyi abedi achira asem a no ka se ye bad idea ne se ye John Dramani Mahama se or be create a 24-hour economy. Now oka se ube create a 24-hour economy. The achira say oman no mu no ye ni 24-hour economy no dada. Edikan atosumienu. Economy a Ghana ye running no. Ye friend the laissez-faire economy and the free market economy. free market economy no, it is driven by supply and demand. Enti se ubenya 24-hour economy or not no. Eya idea would demand ene bechire. Enye bibi a ubetimi a legislate se ube she obi ana ube force obi se onye. Nemum se economy no epeja na se demand no nipa dodo na no hwehwe goods and services. Titiru ansa na nipa dodo na nso behwehwe goods and services no. Eyese omusi kasem epeja. Nti obi be a friend disposable income. Eno na omutimi de toto niema ne ade. In fact, article do be catch basic concept in economics ni say nipa bia ni sika epeja ne niema oto enso peja. Once your income increases, your demand increases. Enti dia wo be ye ne say wo be peja oman ni sika semu GDP growth ube make sure say emfaso ebeba oman no sikasemu no ebema timamufo de ebekwa akogu omu betom no bedoso na omotimi de bi ato niema eno na wutimi ya 24-hour economy no eno abeba automatically pacho what you say. So enye bibia obeka se mi be create, it is an attendant effect of an expanded economy or a highly demand driven economy or an economy majority of the people know enough disposable income. And nunti and a man penny abedi chirika say a bad idea, not the 24-hour concept in per se, because I know every economist ejitum say eboa say we increase production now we make sure say every time of the day biano production is working na boni bi any but production no ain't happen in a vacuum. Production is demand driven, so you must stimulate demand first and create enough disposable income in the pockets of the people for you to have a 24-hour economy. Etu besha omanpanyi abedi echire edi kan de san komone bae no afei no brofo kasem o make a lot of bad tracks edi kan omanpanyi abedi ayi omanpanyi a wetwam John Dramani Mahama aba be chire mu say 24-hour economy no enyenhye wa wo pese wo ye no e na wo ye adenti no obeka sa chire say wonim say the businessman is a rational human being. Nipa na ono wo ye adwuma no maame na ono wo te makola o ton ne niema no papa na wa bie ne shop ana wa bie ne factory no sebe na adwene no eye adwuma en wonim de beboa no ti ne se wo ye rational human being. Enti ne se na adwuma no obebie na nopa ana obebie na wia ana obebie numre aka ho a na wonim se adwuma no so wo ye ne saa mfaso obefiri mu ayeden aba aboa na adwuma no nkanko omie adwuma no se obie keke omie na numre se obie keke na efe dabi eyeso wo hunu se se mi bie no anumre ana mi bie na wia mfaso de de bebre mi ni na beboa ma madwuma na tumpon ama manya mfaso e wo madwuma ameye ne so the businessman is rational, and that businessman will take a rational decision. So obama no tax incentive mpo na obama no other incentive mpo na say and make you rational rational sense on take that decision to do a 24-hour economy. Until you see say yera John Dramani Mahama ntem na no ba say enyenhye wa opese wo ye no na wa ye enro nso okokasa wo baby eno nso wo say sisu bio say 24-hour economy no one mo pese o mo ye no betimi aye. Now kosan bebre e wo ho esi ebusa if you say we see what the 24-hour economy beba ena ye kire say Ghana ha no 24-hour economy e wo ha dada enye obi ena de 24-hour economy e beba Ghana ha e wo ha dada ofa Ghana fanan bebia e wo ha dada se obi se obehye mu kene a eno ye nkomo foforo ba sa wo se wo be create de adabraka e wo ha dada se wo behye mu kena nso a kena na wo behye mu no de na wo de beka ho ama wo de ahye sa de no mu kena eno na article ibusa se ingredients no ene de he enti ebia yebeye say omo de biaba edi kan omo say omo ma tax incentives atik etosu mienu omo say omo beye bibia ye friend no energy time consumption bibi pricing enti say we use electricity no enumera o price ne be kofom minim so atia menim nua same jan fish ya wa fidie ba ko so asema o kan no say one of the solutions omo de be ma 24-hour economy na ba ne say omo the tax incentives beba
yeah me so mate best mark about biite I was always go on NDC chairman was not be akufiti I was say omo the special meter bi tariff bi be ma omo ebe omo beti ase omo adwuma na najo no enti me so mate kofi mate
yes enti
I think share ho so
enti these are some of the
control
and some of my den omaka enti
because 24-hour economy is not only manufacturing kwane.
That's the point.
The services we have meters.
That's the point. Enti na make us say
there's some further thought in it.
Exactly.
It's a brilliant idea, but some further thought needs
I think enti na ye ka say yema Ghana for ntia say so man panya be de chire His Excellency Excellency Mahmoud Bawumia ontia 24-hour economy. But the ekwan a so wo be ye no ne kwan a so fa so no say a bad idea. So let that be clear. Dr. Bawumia is not against 24-hour economy. But how you are going to do it and the idea say you are going to create it, it doesn't make economic sense. And no what so question me person me busane say. They say almost
because my concern is that, so if you are giving them specialized meters, is it that some meters will be reading less and there will be some subvention, I don't know, or more tariffs, how
or no ne say or say or no ne say who operate enumera yamfa say me operate area na e be charge me 20 pesos per kilometer hour
per kilowatt hour
we enumera e be 15.
And who will take care of the difference?
That's the thing. Something I make can say. So we need to ask the question because sir, energy cost not ready. Yeah, what energy problem dada. Yeah, what energy cost dada. And this I will say, oh, Betty, energy so, Ediama Obia. The question is, so what is was Hakano? Obaka Kofesika were here now, dear.
But Kofi Unim said in we share energy economics now.
Yeah.
Say, see, I can say, you will be a fan of peak and
peak hours, of course, peak hours, yeah.
Good. Say, see, a tariff system now, Hono. So we use electricity from Anopanoa, Kokrokoo, see the off-peak hour now. The tariff structure need different.
Also, you see why the peak
and remember so
peak is because of it's about usage.
Ubia issue.
And I for like if it becomes really
automatically but automatically after 7 p.m. thereabout the tariff structure and the charges currently the always from change.
So which means technically when you're if that well, but again, you see, peak is defined by usage and not consumption.
Yeah.
And if an ajuno, yamfan say, all things being equal, sad and aju economy, aman husupa. People will be using electricity in the night even much more than they do.
Yeah, so then the peak hour will shift to the night. Remember, production companies in Usua. They use more energy.
But I think like you said,
some other company services and not just manufacturing companies.
But like
BPO4, for example, let's say BPO4.
BPO4
business process outsourcing. Like,
okay.
If you have a company in America, they can be taking care of your customer services.
Okay.
Anaju, ombeye juma. What is here? Omuya. Imagine air conditions will be on when until the timing for the peak period no might change.
But I think, like you said, maybe I see you trying for fine details. No?
And I mean, we need fine details. Sectors. It can't just be an open. Which areas are you targeting? Because for efficiency reasons, one team can say, "Baby, na obey." At least there should be some.
Problem why I ain't mean for police for being come. As part of the 24-hour economy.
No, that would be a requirement because it's like if how do you an associated and an externality. Once a month for be you need more security, and also it makes sense.
But then the question is, sir, demand now is additional cost now obeying care. Me petrol almost on bema security protection. So the question is, send a business is better maybe. So the question is, me what petrol station eshe kona bia oba bremi police officer na. So oba bremi police officer. Okay, so oba increase petrol sir. You see, these are the questions that we have to ask because increasing petroling doesn't mean say menya the assured security amehwehwe. But what I say, so we increase petrol no ba obeko. But be for me to open no, me here an assured security officer with Gina ho brane 24/7. Or no one betua neka. Abane na befa sa kanana. And then issues of questions say okay. So we see ube enhance the 24-hour economy. Ghana yen GDP no ube fa ne gina sen na ode beka ho. Because you see, nana ya ese ye busa output as well. Send ye beya dachi bi no susu duane bana si susu se adwuma no ye koduru hin na utimi ye ni here ye benya measuring stick. I think I hope you get what I'm saying. So the NDC needs to tell us say ye beya sa de we ya every year bia no ye the 20,000 jobs na beya den e beka ho. 84 years na ye benya 80,000 additional jobs. Na si enya sa 80,000 additional jobs na tax incentives ni ade a de be ma nyina be cost to say but e be increase GDP by say.
Hey,
why not?
Thorough,
of course.
I think manifestos are just general highlights. You can't have.
I think
Ure fi the omode ye Akufo-Addo Okroma.
I think.
Dabi, it was the right thing to ask for the details. I don't know.
No, if you are saying that they should sit here, anticipate how many people does that project.
Jobs creation.
This is a policy. Policy, you don't give these fine details.
You can give an estimate. Say, policy can give an estimate.
No, estimate fine. But
yes, that's an estimate in a
no, but
I'm my estimate. Hold on, my estimate.
How much it is going to cost this? Where do you
Debut, Atik. You should, and yes, sir. The question is, again, I'll be clear. Again, measure by.
Because find details.
Also, young trying to find it. So, there may person me sa can be. There may person me can be man is sisu people. They say 24-hour economy is in Ghana already.
Okay.
So, be person be pejamua. Yes, sir. Bro, for custom, you have to stimulate the economy to drive demand. Now, this is bank of botomu.
Okay.
Na saa sika no bank of botom na demand no kosra. Naturally, business person no will take a rational decision to increase production.
Are we saying that right now as we speak, there's no demand sufficient enough to push people to work at night?
Atik.
I'm just asking.
So the question is, demand na ewo ho no. Adenti na nipa no entimi emfa nipa. Say if there is a rational business demander. Because demand must be real.
No.
So if there's a rational demander, incentive now what they mano must it necessarily be say obey adwuma no overnight and because for example, ebi am me company. Me company na me wa me see me person me ye BPO no. Say echna oma me sika say me mfa nya adwuma. Ebi am metimi de abi adwuma. But does that mean say necessarily say me ye 24/7? No.
You see, effective demand, it is driven by a number of factors. What you say?
Munya time in churches and numbers.
Okay,
to the moment fan go
any time grant kala essential way no.
There be mapo.
To
Licensure.
I think mapo licensure no next week na details for France and near the account. Why?
Na ye well.
Committee.
We need better and further particulars.
No,
and so that because when a bimpo say civil service any no I went to studio with
because the civil service bed
24/7
the Ministry of Finance
that's what I'm saying and some of them have even sat on radio and said legislative
No, one was said because there haven't been enough details.
Obi can be. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea.
Sectors are you are targeting.
Exactly.
And thirdly, the nature of the incentives. Because as for legislation, you can't legislate.
You can't legislate on this.
You can't.
And the final point is
what you can do is incentives and tax incentives and non-tax incentives.
Mm-hmm.
What nature are they going to be?
Okay.
What is here? These are the things. But every communicator be sorry. Or person chese mimitiasie. And you won't tiasie no na mampinyin that etias. That's enyen tiasie no. So they need to crystallize ideas.
The 24-hour economy
make it easy for them to be able to communicate.
Mahmoud by interventions or the stimulate the 24-hour economy in so many ways. Because of digitalization, a lot of companies are already working at night. 24/7.
Why?
And we have to stop
lawyer Kwame Fosu and lawyer Kwame Fosu Oma ene busuane nyina se osre onyankopon se onhyiraw na oma onyinimfra adumu enko adumu oyire dofo oma wonananom wonsonom onum nyina se oma ochinkwa we efri oba nanaya asante Fosu ho ose lawyer Kwame Fosu happy birthday onyankopon ema ene enye da papa emma Sampai me mawache anopei honorable Sampai afi asante mamusuafo mante musuafo onmonyamfo Simon ose mensa ofa ososo ye mawache ena no pei so ebrebe me kwan ema yedi djuma no asie ya frame nana ya kese obetimi aframe the cardinal metremo Ghana's morning voice chairman general Kwame Sefakan Dr. Father Dixon Kennedy asante ose sofo kodwa asante Stephen Bar for Peter Square Isaac Opoko Pretty Joy Naposo hima adwa yeboa eje no dia henkan Kwame yeboa na wo flip side nyame ya aduma ochena yebeba beto asom no so me de radio asom dweja mu nyina me sorry Kofi Kumbelson the royal baby no mo tra ko bim se premo ebeto nyame ya aduma ochena yebeba beto asom no eso me de radio asom dwe ejam makram living in the world my brother